Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I'm your host, TheDividendAristocrat, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all my dividends for the month of January. Now, this is my first monthly dividend recap for 2026, so I'm pretty excited to get into it. Now, if you guys do enjoy this type of content and appreciate the transparency, consider subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Now, I know my uploads have not been as consistent as before, and that's because life has gotten a little bit busy recently, but I'm still trying to get at least these monthly updates out for the time being. Now, once things do calm back down, I will be getting back to my regular upload schedule. As a reminder, this is not financial advice, and I'm just merely sharing my opinions on this channel. With that being said, let's start by taking a look at my portfolio dashboard. So in total, I invested $54,400, and I have a portfolio value of $79,144. My total unrealized gains is sitting at about $24,700, but I do also have some realized gains and losses that I'm going to have to factor into the spreadsheet somewhere at some point. Now, in terms of total return, we're sitting at about 45% total return with a total dividend earned of over $2,400 and a yearly projected income going forward of almost $1,200. That means that we're really close to hitting that $100 a month mark, which would be $1,200 per year. And I think in the next week or two, we'll probably be able to hit that mark. Now, in order to get this yearly projected income right here, we can take a look at my portfolio yield, which is about 1.51%, or on a yield on cost basis, it's 2.2%. Now, I currently hold 20 different holdings. I still have plans to lower this amount throughout this year, so we'll see which stocks I may end up cutting in 2026. Now, what I do want to point out here is I did add some new stuff down in this table below, so let's take a look at that right now. So what this table does is it shows me a breakdown for my portfolio from 2020, which is when I first started it, all the way till now, 2026, which is crazy. We're over the 5-year mark in the portfolio. I believe I started it in about October of 2020. Now, it does show me how much I invested and the dividends I received each and every year. And you can see right here that I started out pretty small with about a $3,000 investment into the portfolio, all of which went into VOO. That year, I only received one dividend, $12.45, probably in December of 2020. And then since then, of course, I've been increasing my contributions into the portfolio. Now, last year was a record-breaking year for me. You can see both here and on the graph below that it did beat the previous year by a pretty high margin for dividend earned, which was $1,048. And also, of course, my amount invested, which is at $19,200. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to hit this number once again in 2026. What happened in 2025 was I had a lot of spillover from extra cash that was sitting from 2024. But for 2026, I am hoping to continue putting in at least $1,000 per month on average. Now, of course, some months I might be putting a little bit more than $1,000 in, and some months I might be putting a little bit less, but it should average out to about $1,000 to $1,500 a month if all goes according to plan. Now, I do have about a $7,000 cash position sitting on the side right now in my investment accounts, so potentially I could hit that 15 to 20K mark depending on what opportunities the market does present this year. Now, I still haven't decided my exact investing strategy for 2026. We're already a month in and I really need to get on top of that, but I have been super busy. Once I do decide my investing strategy, it might be similar to last year, it might be the exact same, we'll have to see, but I will make a video on that just to feature it so you guys know what I'm planning on doing. For the time being, I'm going to continue last year's strategy, which was about $100 a week into VOO and 1 share of STHD every single week, and we'll see how that goes from there. Now, for the rest of the money, I can decide to put it into whatever ETFs or stocks I want to invest in. So before we take a look at my dividend income, let's quickly jump into my future outlook simulator and see what my portfolio might look like in the next 10, 30, or even 40 years. Now, if you guys want to get your own copy of this future value calculator, you can get it for free on my Patreon. I'll leave the link in the description below as well as the pinned comment. So my starting principle is my current portfolio value at almost 80K. My annual contribution is how much I'm expecting to put into the portfolio each year. So right now I have it set to 12K, which is honestly on the lower end, I'm hoping. Now, in terms of annual dividend yield, that's just my current dividend yield for the portfolio. And then for these two right here, the expected dividend increase and expected price appreciation, I can adjust them as I see fit. So for dividend increase, I am hoping to get about a 6% dividend increase per year, which might be a little bit ambitious, but we can put that in regardless. And for price appreciation, I hope I can get at least 8% every single year. Now, of course, these two numbers are going to average out. Some years I'm going to have a larger dividend increase and a larger price appreciation, and some years it'll be far lower, of course, maybe even in the negatives for price appreciation. So after 10 years, I should expect to have a portfolio of about $335,000 with a dividend income per year of $4,000. Now, to get into the more interesting numbers, let's jump into the 30-year mark. So right here, it should be worth about $2.4 million at the end of year 30, with about $18K coming in every single year from dividend income. Now, just for fun, this one's not super realistic, but if you do have a 40-year time frame, let's see what it could look like by then. So at the end of 40 years, the portfolio is going to be substantially larger as it continues to compound more aggressively. At this point, you'd almost have a $6 million portfolio value with $32,000 coming in every single year, and that's off of a pretty low initial dividend yield and a fairly low dividend increase of 6%. Now at this point, if you did want larger dividend income, what I'd recommend is probably transitioning your holdings into larger dividend paying holdings. So without further delay, let's take a look at which dividends I got paid in January, and I only got paid out from one company, which is ticker symbol MO, or the company Altria. Now they paid on the 9th of January and they paid me $28.02, which I reinvested back into the company to buy 0.493 shares at a price of $56.84. Now the reason I show this part of the spreadsheet first is this is where I track all my history in terms of both my transactions and my dividends. Now speaking of transactions, here are all my transactions for the month. We have my normal buys of 1 share of SCHD every week and $100 of VOO every single week. And as you can see right here, I did miss a week between the 14th and the 28th, so I just doubled up on the 28th. Now I do want to point out that I did buy an individual share. I actually had a limit order placed a while back and I brought it up in one of my recent videos, but I had a limit order placed for PayPal at $54.86 and the company did drop below the stock price, actually trading closer to $52 right now. So I had it automatically execute and it bought me 10 shares at that price. Now I am actually in the red on PayPal, but they do announce earnings next week, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Now before we wrap up this section, let's take a look at my money market dividends. So basically that $7,000 in cash I have sitting around in my investment accounts is sitting between my Vanguard and my Fidelity accounts. That's why we have two different symbols right here. Now every single month for that settled cash that I have there, I do get a yield from both Vanguard and Fidelity, and so in that case I got paid out $10.10 by Vanguard and $16.29 by Fidelity, which is pretty nice. Now I only have two more sections that I want to cover in this video, and if you guys have made it this far, let me know down below how much you've earned in dividend income in the month of January. I'd love to hear it. Also, if you are enjoying the video, feel free to leave a like. It does help me out a ton. So as you can see right here, this is my dividend calendar for 2026 and it's pretty empty right now. Now, as this continues to populate over the next couple months, you'll start seeing how these totals do change across both the months and the individual stocks. And it'll be nice to see the total amount here going up over the course of the year. Now, just to put it into perspective, here's what my dividend calendar looked like for 2025. So you can see it's fully filled out right here. And my total was $1,048 across the entire year. Now the last thing I want to show off here is my monthly breakdown section. It's one of the older sheets in my spreadsheet and it's how I used to track how much I was investing and how much dividend I received every single month. So you can see in 2020, I only invested once in October of 2020 and I got that dividend in December like I was saying earlier. Now scrolling all the way down, we can get to the current year 2025 and so far I invested $1,000 into the portfolio and I received $28 worth of dividend income, which is actually higher in dividend income than what I received in January of last year. Now this section is pretty nice because I have a conditional formatting set to find the highest month I've ever gotten. So far it's December of 2025 at $230 and I'm really hoping that we can beat it this year. The main thing that I like to look at here is this graph and it does show how my dividends have been growing over time. Although sporadic because of my large concentration ETFs, it does trend upwards and over the next couple of years we'll see this picture even more and more clear. As always, that does bring us to the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at my portfolio and seeing how much dividends I received in the first month of 2026. Now, if you guys haven't yet watched my last video where I talked about my dividend income for December of 2025, which was my biggest month ever, definitely check it out right here. And if you want to see my top 3 stocks to buy right now, check out this video right here. Remember, the best time to invest was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. I want to thank every single one of you guys for watching and I will see you in the next one.